Alright, what is good, fishing fam? So in the last fishing tips video, I discussed the top 3 baits for late summer, kind of, mid to late summer, almost fall baits. But in this video, I want to talk about right at that beginning of the fall. It's like August 28th right now, maybe 29th. Um, and those fish the bass are going to push up the bait fish, whatever your bait fish may be in your pond or lake, into those back creek pockets. And this video is really geared towards lakes more. You can do it in ponds, but it's a little bit more geared towards lakes. But it does happen a little bit in the ponds, which is mostly what I fish. But what happens is those bass, they're getting ready for the winter, so they have to eat a lot to get ready to be fat and stay lazy. So they're pushing up these bait fish into the back pockets and corners of the ponds, and they're pushing them into pretty much the thickest stuff possible, and they're getting ready to attack them. And I just have 5 or 6 baits that I think will work really well in this time of year. Let's get started. Okay, so the first bait, and this is actually my least favorite bait for this, just because I don't like how this. I mean, I like how the bait works, how it looks, but I just don't catch a lot of fish on these at all. I mean, you probably do, but I don't super much recommend using them. But the first bait is the Zoom Super Fluke, and it doesn't really matter what color. I would just go straight white or albino, like I have right here. You could even put some blue sparkles in it if you wanted to, like find the color like that. But this is what it looks like out of the package. And what you want to do is, and I'll show you the rods. I'm not gonna go into depth on the rods. I'm just gonna explain the baits. But I like to fish a fluke or any really soft plastic bait on a 7 foot to 7'3" medium heavy powered fast action. If I'm fishing a swim bait, I might prefer that medium powered rod so that you can really get that hook in well. But a medium heavy is a great alternative if that's all you have. This reel is, it's not a beginner reel. It's the Shimano SLX-DC. It's pretty expensive. Retails for about $200. So this is not a reel I'm recommending to you. If you want to get it, by all means, go ahead. But I'm not telling you to go get it. I'm just saying this is the reel I use. I use 15-pound fluorocarbon. I wouldn't go any more than that. You can go a little less than that if you want, but I definitely would not go any more than that because then the line just gets way too thick to cast it effectively. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna Texas rig this like with a tungsten weight. You can do whatever you want with it. You can throw it weightless. Weightless is probably the best option, especially because those bass are pushing those bait up shallow. So you want your bait to fall slowly because if it's falling too quick, you're not gonna be able to effectively use it. The next bait, and this is one of my favorite baits of all time, is the Topwater Frog. Again, these bass are pushing up these bait shallow into that cover, so a frog is a great way to catch them. A white frog is preferred for this because it looks like a bait fish, but you can use that, especially since that's got a white underbelly. That'll work almost just as good, if not probably better. But just a topwater frog, you want to fish that on a heavy powered rod, no doubt. If you're fishing in open water situations, a medium heavy is okay. Maybe just get an extra fast action or fast. Really no difference between those two, but definitely want a stout rod to be able to get the hook set in these. But bass are gonna munch on these. The frog does take a little bit more skill because it's a heavy duty lure, and you need to have a stout rod and a really strong hook set to get fish out of cover with it. But a frog is a great lure. I love topwater. I don't think anybody doesn't like topwater, but that's a really great lure for the fall transition. Darn it, it is hot. The sun just decided to beam on me. The next bait, and I have 2 of these, but these are 2 different or slightly different styles. The first one is the KVD Caffeine Shed, and I'm talking about paddle tail swim baits. So this is a little bit smaller profile than what I'm about to show you, but it's a little bit softer plastic. It doesn't have any ridges on it. It's just got that hollow cavity in the middle that swim baits have, kind of like the Fluke does. It's got a little bit more of a completely flat head than it does kind of a round head that comes up. But that's a really good bait. You can do whatever you want with it. Belly weight, swim bait, hook it. You can Texas rig it weightless. I prefer to Texas rig it weightless because it tends to have not as much action, but you'll get more bites on it because unless those fish are super active and chasing bait fish everywhere, which they are, but you might not have super active fish in your body of water. It just depends. But if you want to make it weightless, some fish are just kind of lethargic and just kind of really looking for bait fish. That's a really great way to catch fish. The second one, and I like these a little bit better just because they're a little heavier, so they sink a little quicker, and they're just overall a little bit better in my opinion. They're definitely not as cheap, but I like them a little bit better. And that is the Strike King Rage Tail. This is an awesome swim bait. As you can see, this has ridges on there, so it'll put up a little bit more vibration in the water than it already does just by swimming it through the water. But this has, that little bit more less flat, kind of comes up like that head. I love fishing these. These are awesome baits. It's got a little bit more kind of wiggle room, if you will. I would prefer to Texas rig this on a weightless rig because it's a little bit heavier, like I said. But this is a super great bait. It has really good color. Again, any white colors are really gonna work well this time of year, but those swim baits are really, really good. All right, second to last we have, now this bait puts up a little bit more vibration in the water if you're fishing in like super muddy water and you're having a hard time catching fish on other baits. The Chatterbait. I have a rage swimmer on the back of it. You can put a caffeine jet, doesn't really matter. But some sort of Chatterbait, you can buy a jackhammer, you can buy a big head, you buy whatever you want. I just use these Z-Man original. They're like $4. It's just more affordable. But I really like Chatterbaits. They come through cover really well and puts up a lot of vibration, and it looks really nice. Definitely want to get that white with a green color, and I'm gonna use that on a 7-foot medium heavy. The last lure, and probably one of my favorite out of these, is a white jig. So this is a pigeon style jig, as you can see there by the head shape. You can use a flip and you can use a football, doesn't matter. But any white jig will work really well. You can bring it through cover a little bit better because it's got that weed guard. You can flip it into heavy cover if you want. You could even get like white cross and punch matted grass with that, but well, not this. You don't want to punch with a lead jig, but it's a really good jig. Actually, has a little bit of a rattle, so it does have a little bit more action and a little bit more sound. This is a really good bait. Just gonna fish it on a 7-foot medium heavy. If you were pitching it towards heavy cover, you might want to use a 7 to 7-foot 6 heavy powered rod. But I'm just gonna fish this around open water and maybe pitch it to a few logs, so that medium heavy is gonna load up a little bit better and get a better hook set for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my list of baits. If I had to choose one to use in the fall transition, okay, you gotta let me choose too. I would choose, if I had to choose only two baits to use in the fall transition, it would be that white rage tail and a topwater frog, because you gotta have a little fun with the frog. I mean, these are my two top baits. If I had to bring it down to two, if I had to bring it down to one, I'd have to go with the swim bait because that's gonna be a little bit more effective. But again, these fish are pushing up the bait fish shallow into the creek channels, or not channels, but pockets. I think it might be channels. I don't know, but they're pushing them up shallow again, kind of like it was in the spring. And you just gotta have shallow baits that run shallow. And thanks for watching, guys. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And this is Outdoor Jack out. Now, before I go, guys, I want you to let me know in the comments what else you want to see. Do you want to see more like, you know, tips videos like this, or do you want to see me catching the bass, or do you want to see me hunting? What do you want me to, or what do you want to see? Because I want to make the content enjoyable for me and you, but more you. I want to, develop my audience. I want people to enjoy watching my content, so please let me know in the comments. Thank you.